G'day, my name's Darryl Webb. Today we're going to have a look at thermal devices and night vision devices. We've got some thermal scanners, night vision scanner add-on, night vision add-on here on a day optic, and we've got a dedicated night vision scope and a dedicated thermal scope. We're just going to talk about the difference between night vision and thermal vision, and which applications they suit, and which ones, if you're thinking about getting into this type of shooting, pest control stuff and using thermal night vision, which ones may suit you. Okay, we're going to start off with the scanners. I've been using night vision for a lot of years, and probably the last 18 months I've really stepped up into thermal. But does that mean I've necessarily stopped using the night vision? Straight outright, no. I still find a need for the night vision, and I still use it quite regularly. The advantages with the thermal are as a scanner, if you're looking over open areas, I've found that I can see things a lot further with thermal. This has got a 35mm lens, so if you've got sort of a 25mm or bigger lens and a high-end sensor, you can see things at great distances. I see foxes with this at sort of 500 metres. Now, in all honesty, the night vision, I'm not going to see them that far. Pretty much past about 150 metres to 200 metres, I'm more looking for eye shine, and then I can go out maybe 200 metres, maybe. Realistically, thermal eats night vision alive for identification on that there's something out there. Well, not for identification, just for finding stuff. So when you're scanning around, say open paddocks, you will see so much further with this than I can with the night vision. The other advantage I found thermal will have over the night vision is when there's things closer or there's a lot of brush around or grass, thermal doesn't let you see through things, but if there's something through the grass and there's gaps, you will see it with thermal, where with the infrared or night vision, because they've got an illuminator, if you shine it on the grass and the animal's facing away so you're not seeing any eye shine, it reflects back off the grass, so you find yourself not being able to see things through grass and things like that with the night vision. The thermal also goes up there. The benefit of the night vision, where the night vision stands over the thermal, is I find if I'm shooting targets with similar shapes and profiles, say for instance I'm shooting roosting birds at night, I may be there to shoot a particular type of bird, and there may be another type of bird there that I don't want shot. There might be a native bird, and they're similar sizes. Unless you're very close with thermal, it's very hard to ID sometimes. They start to all look the same. So I do find myself often reaching for, out of my pocket, I will find out my night vision and double check things with the night vision, just because when I look through this, it's just like a black and white TV image. The image is really clear and it makes identification easy. That can also be for other animals and other situations too. Anywhere where there's, maybe it's easy to confuse something and you wouldn't want to accidentally shoot the wrong animal, night vision is very good to have to check, and because just the ID on animals is so much better. Okay, let's talk about scopes. We'll start off with like a dedicated scope, like a thermal. The advantages of the thermal scope, it's falls back to that saying, you can see things are different at distance. If I'm shooting a centerfire, I much prefer to use a thermal over a night vision scope. But with that said, if I'm using rimfires, it doesn't make a great deal of difference. Pretty much anything I could get with this, with the thermal scope, I can get with the night vision scope. And also with the night vision and thermal, you can use them as add-ons. A night vision add-on goes on the rear of the scope, so it lets you turn your daytime scope into a nighttime scope. No need to change point of impact or anything. You can also do that with thermal. I don't have one of them here, but you can buy thermal add-ons, but they go on the front of the scope. From what I understand, they're a little bit harder to set up, but they do the same job. They turn your nighttime or your daytime optic into a nighttime optic. Again, depending on what scanners you're using, sometimes I use the thermal scanner, and then just to double check, if I'm using night vision, I will just check with the rifle scope, and I'll have a look to see if that's the actual exact right animal I need to be after. So the two of them together works very well. And back to the type of gun using, the centerfires, I really do enjoy the thermal scope, just because I can see so much further. You can really find your target, especially in an open field. But with that said, out to maybe a couple of 100 metres with the right scope and night vision add-on, these are still very effective, and they are definitely cheaper. So as a bit of a conclusion, obviously you can tell by the way I'm talking, you sort of need to have both. I find that the night vision is much more affordable to get into. For instance, something like this add-on is probably only, you know, $400, something around there. So you can get in it quite cheap with the night vision, but it isn't going to perform like your thermal add-on would do. But with that said, a thermal add-on is probably, you know, $4,000 plus. In straight outright, the types of ways of doing things, I find add-ons don't work quite as good as a dedicated device. I haven't got huge experience with thermal add-ons, so I can't speak too much of them. But for instance, this is convenient if you really need to have a daytime optic. If you've got a rifle set up straight for nighttime, I would probably more suggest to get a dedicated, you know, night vision or thermal scope, whichever way you go. That's the summary of it. I like to use both. I use them both together. As I said, if I'm using a thermal scanner, sometimes I can get away with just the night vision scope. If I'm using a thermal scope and a thermal scanner, I definitely still carry a night vision scanner to look around, just so I can identify targets much more accurately. And obviously you don't want to make a mistake of shooting something you're not meant to shoot. I also find my awareness of what else is around me differs between thermal and night vision. For instance, animals and other things that may be in the background show up much better in thermal, but sometimes things that might be not an animal, might not have heat, but it still might be something, an expensive object or something, I notice much more with night vision. So there's sort of pros and cons for both there, but having both really sorts that problem out. Another big elephant in the room is straight outright price. You're probably looking for, say for instance, this is a one leaf Eagle 2 to 26x50 NV400 dedicated night vision scope, and this is a infrared tube TH50 version 2 thermal scope. These are both, I guess, mid-range in their fields. There's some more brands that are more expensive, there's some that are cheaper, but as a bit of a guide, this thing's around $1,000 Australian, and this guy's around $6,500 Australian. So if your budget doesn't permit them, it's sort of it's a bit of an easy choice. If you are looking at thermal and you want to go a bit cheaper, don't go anything less than 388 or 384, whatever it is. If really, the problems that thermal has with ID just get worse as you go more cheaper. This is a 640 sensor scope, and as I said, there's still issues with ID compared to night vision. So if you can't sort of go for the high-end one, I'd suggest probably stay out of thermal until you can. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a reality that so 384 just for shooting may do it, but as long as you've got something else to do your ID with, because the ID is not very good at 384 past a certain distance. Once you're at further distances, the ID just becomes very, very hard on thermal. Anyway, on that note, we'll end the video there. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more stuff like this, hit the subscribe button. And I'll roll a few extra little clips of them both being used, and you can sort of see thermal versus night vision for yourself with your own eye. Anyway, bye for now. As well, and right between the normal line and the one line underneath it. Yep. You keeping it going? Yeah, so the big left one is just close 60 metres.
It's his butt.
Yeah, it's alright. 60 metres. Not the first little line after it, it's 50, the next little line. Yep, you got him. Oh, we've got a heap of them. All different distances, they're all pretty much inside 50 or just a little bit past it.